Today we're diving into a novel called Blood and Bergamot. It's a really gripping story about love, faith, and a murder mystery that's been sitting cold for 50 years. So let's get into this tangled web of secrets and redemption. This line just sets the stage perfectly, doesn't it? It tells you right away this is a story about a past that refuses to stay buried, and about the one person who's finally brave enough to start digging. At the very heart of this story is a man who's been defined and honestly almost destroyed by the traumas of his past. So let's meet our protagonist.
So on the surface, you've got Shane Moseley. He's built this life of routine, of control. He runs a little coffee shop in Queens Village, knows every customer's order, and just keeps to himself. But underneath all that quiet, he's anything but calm.
You see, there are these three major conflicts that have him totally trapped. He's haunted by the literal sounds of war, this constant ringing in his ears from an IED blast back in Fallujah. He's paralyzed by the 50-year-old mystery of his father's murder. And he's put up these huge emotional walls after a really toxic relationship, making it impossible to connect with anyone.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because this is the core of his dilemma. On one side, you have Laura Catton, his ex. She represents his past, a messy, unhealthy connection to a world of secrets. But on the other side is Lania Demarco. She's a childhood friend who represents a future he feels he doesn't deserve, one filled with healing, hope, and real, genuine love.
This entry from Shane's journal, wow, it just cuts right to his core. He sees this chance for happiness with Lania, but his past has him totally convinced he's not worthy of it. It's this raw, honest plea that really captures that deep internal battle he's fighting between hope and despair.
Okay, so with all that inner turmoil swirling, something's got to give, right? Well, Shane's internal struggle is about to kick off an external quest for the truth.
It's Lania's belief in him that's the real catalyst here. It gives Shane the courage he's been missing for decades. For the very first time, he feels like he doesn't have to face his demons all by himself. And he makes a huge decision. He's finally going to investigate his father's 50-year-old cold case. And this is it. This is the central question that drives the whole rest of the story. What really happened at that Queens Village train station 50 years ago? And who in the world has been protecting the killer for all this time? And when you look at this timeline, you realize his father's death wasn't just some random, isolated event. No way. It's connected to a bank robbery 3 years before and a whole string of other murders that stretch across decades. What looked like a single tragedy is actually a massive, long-running conspiracy.
So to really understand the murder, we have to go back to the crime that started it all. And it's a crime that involved men Shane thought he knew and trusted his whole life.
The investigation uncovers a bombshell. Shane's own father, Williard, was the getaway driver in a bank robbery back in 1969. And he did it alongside his trusted family friend, Lee Exton Sr. But the true mastermind, the inside man, was a guy named Clark Canton, who then started systematically killing off the crew to keep more of the money for himself.
And then another devastating blow. A confession letter from Lee Exton Sr. He admits that he knew Clark was the killer all along, but he stayed silent. Why? Out of pure cowardice. He chose the stolen money over his friend. And that lifelong financial support he gave Shane's family, it wasn't kindness, it was penance.
So, there he is. We have our villain, Clark Canton. And guess who he is? The father of Shane's toxic ex-girlfriend, Laura. His motives were a nasty mix of pure greed and this twisted, jealous rage because Shane's mother chose Willard over him all those years ago. With the truth finally in hand, all that's left is the final showdown. This is where a 50-year-old secret gets dragged, kicking and screaming, into the light. And you have to appreciate the poetic justice here. The climax, the big confrontation, it all goes down in the Queens Village Church Rectory, the exact same place where Clark Canton murdered Father Flanagan just to keep him quiet decades earlier. So when he's finally cornered and confronted, Clark condemns himself with his own words. And guess what? It's all being secretly recorded. He confesses to everything, shows zero remorse, and actually tries to justify the murders as the cost of building his family's fortune. And it isn't just one piece of evidence, it's an absolute avalanche. They've got a warning letter from another victim, a journal full of guilt from his accomplice, and now the killer's own voice confessing to it all. Justice is finally completely inescapable.
So, with the mystery solved, the focus shifts right back to where we started, Shane's internal journey. He's gone from a man haunted by ghosts to a man who is finally able to heal.
This is the real resolution of the story. It's beautiful. The moment the truth about his father comes out, that symbolic ringing in his ears from his PTSD, it just stops. By solving the external mystery, Shane is finally able to silence his own internal demons.
And this quote just captures his transformation perfectly. He's in the arms of Lania, the woman who helped him find the truth, and he says he's finally home. It's such a powerful statement. It means he's found a peace and a sense of belonging that he has never, ever known before. So what can we take away from this whole story? Well, first, that the truth has a power all its own, even if it takes 50 years to come out. Second, that love and faith can be the keys to overcoming even the deepest, most painful wounds. And finally, that a new beginning is always possible, no matter how broken your past is. And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. Shane's entire life was dictated by a secret that was kept for 50 years. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of who we are is defined not by what we know about our families, but by what we don't?